Congressman Louie Gohmert.
Michael.
Congressman Louie Gohmert wanted to come on the show and trash Mitt Romney. Go ahead, sir. The microphone is yours.
Well, I didn't realize that's what I was coming on for.
That's what your people told me.
And it's amazing. People, I keep hearing that. Well, gee, those that don't support Romney are being anti-Mormon.
Yeah.
I've got lots of Mormon friends. I don't see that as the issue at all. My only concern has been expressed back in '08 when I had some friends saying, Mitt is our kind of guy, Louis. Look at all the positions he's taken. I said, but I've heard and read the positions he took previously and have heard and seen video of him saying things, and I'm just not very comfortable. So, Louis, you got to understand, he had to say those things in order to get elected in Massachusetts. And, call me old-fashioned, but I'd kind of like somebody that will say the same thing in Texas and Massachusetts and Iowa and South Carolina. And so that's my concern. These may be absolutely perfectly strong, legitimate positions he's changed to now, and I hope and pray they are. But I just like somebody that's been pretty consistent all along.
Congressman Louie Gohmert, I heard you on Sean Hannity's show about 20 minutes ago, and we're going to talk about what you were talking about, which is Obama's Afghan policy. But how long have you been in the United States Congress?
I got elected in November of '04, sworn in January of '05.
Did you ever, in those years, because I know Newt Gingrich wasn't technically lobbying per se, but he was consulting and he was continuing to communicate, particularly with Republican members of the House. Have you had many dealings with him? I mean, I know you mentioned...
Yeah, actually, we used to email in the last 6 months. I hadn't emailed a whole lot at all, but every now and then. But, no, he has... been pretty stout. In fact, I'll tell you something that is not a known thing, but in July of '06, things were not looking good. Our leadership, our new leader, John Boehner, and our speaker, Denny Hastert, good folks, but in January of '06 at our retreat, maybe in the 1st of February, but they said, okay, we were going to do massive tax reform this year. That's what we ran on in '04, but there's a tiny chance we might lose the majority in November, so we're just going to try to get through '06 here, not do anything big, and hold on to the majority, and then next year, January of '07, we'll come back, and then we'll do the big tax reform and all that stuff. Well, I got up and said, if you really think there's any chance of losing the majority this year, this has to be the year we do what we said we'd do. You don't want to come back next year, lost the majority, you didn't even try. But anyway, that was a minority voice. We just limped through the year. Newt came to our freshman class, 20 or 21 of us had dinner with him, and he said, look, guys, I'm very concerned you're about to lose the majority in November. You hadn't been taking up the issues that are important. So I have here a list of 13 things that are over 75% popular in the United States, and they're all things that every one of us here believe in. You need to get together as a class, because we had like a 17-vote majority. You need to get together as a class and pick out 3 or 4 of these items, because we're nearly through July. There's August break, and then you have September, October, you're off campaigning. So you ought to demand, go all of you as a class to the Speaker's office and demand a meeting with him and Leader Boehner and say, here's the 3 or 4 things. We demand votes on these in September, and if we don't get votes on those, we're not going to vote for another Republican bill.
Did you take the list to Boehner?
We made the list, and he said it's very important that you don't telegraph this in advance. You just show up at his office.
Because he'll start crying.
Well, no, he would start picking folks off. And the next morning, and we were going to the Speaker's office at 1:30 the next afternoon. That morning, Leader Boehner was talking to one of our group, and from what I understood, persuaded him to tell him what it was that we were about to do. He starts picking off 5 of our guys individually saying, "You'll destroy our party. You can't do this. This is not a team thing. You're going to kill us."
Sounds like the guys behind mittens, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so anyway, they similar language, but we got to stay together as a team, and this kind of thing is going to kill us. And so got 5 to back off. That got us under the 17 we needed to bring down a bill. Therefore, we had no leverage. Therefore, we didn't bring 3 or 4 of the most important things in America to vote in that September. But that was Newt's idea, and I don't know if it would have saved the majority, but it's for sure would have helped. And also, it was Newt when I came up with the idea. When I heard that we might spend, this was fall of 2008, I was so upset with TARP. It just, to my core, you don't abandon free market principles to save the free market. If you have to do that, free market's not worth saving. And I think it is. But anyway, we had heard it might cost $3 to $9 trillion before we turned the economy around over a number of years. And so I asked for official numbers on how much we expected to receive in income tax for all of 2008, and it was $1.21 trillion. And I went, good grief, you could give everybody in America paying income tax a holiday for the whole year. Boy, would that get the economy going, and that would be in the hands of the people that earned it, and they would decide which automakers to bail out because they would do that by what cars they bought with all the money they'd get back from their taxes. And that'd be a whole lot better, and we would have paid for that with the TARP funds. But anyway, I sent the idea of at least doing a couple of months to 5 people, and Newt shot back immediately, this is brilliant, I'll push it. I don't get called brilliant a whole lot.
Right, it's flattering. And Newt, whether you like him or not, Newt is brilliant. So he might know brilliance when he sees it. Congressman, can you hold with me for just a moment?
Sure, you bet.
Congressman Louie Gohmert is going to be our guest coming up. He wrote an editorial along with Congressman Dana Rohrabacher, publishing Big Government yesterday, titled "Obama's Afghan Policy is Empowering the Taliban." Are we actually helping the Taliban by what we're doing? It's an interesting question, and he has some interesting things to say you may not have known coming up.
He drives way too fast to worry about cholesterol.
I'm a taste man.
The Michael Berry Show.
Black Jesus.
Louie Gohmert, congressman from North Central Texas, specifically requested that as his bump song. He likes to dance to that around the house.
Bumper music, that's not exactly Zach Brown.
It is called American Boy. You kind of qualify for that.
Well, thank you.
They didn't play that kind of music at Texas A&M when you were there, did they?
Well, if they did,
They played God-fearing music like Robert Earl King.
You got it.
Speaking of Aggies gone wrong, I love Robert Earl and I consider him a personal friend, but his campaigning on behalf of Barack Obama just too much. Too much. I don't think that made the Aggie faithful happy at all. Let's talk about this editorial. And let's be honest. Did you write this or did Rohrabacher write this?
Actually, Dana, I wrote most of it. Dana is the one he's been going over to Afghanistan since the late 60s.
Well, he just brought you in to give a little star power to it.
Well, no, actually, he invited me to go a year and a half ago and said, look, there's a bunch of our allies leaders, the Northern Alliance, who want to meet with somebody, and the Obama administration shut them out. And he knows I'll do anything for my country, and so I said, sure, I'll go. And we went and met with them then, and actually, as far as this editorial, I wrote it, and then I had my staff edit my writing, and then they sent it back to me, and then I did more edits on their edits of my article, and then I sent it over to Dana, and Dana made some additions. But I knew, I mean, when you spend as much time as Dana and I have together, that we were in agreement on these things because we had talked about them so much. So basically, when I wrote the thing first, I was writing what he and I had talked about. But no, this is not something that a staff member from Dana or my staff actually wrote. Dana and I were involved, and in fact, probably most of the words in there are my personal words. And in fact, two of the lines that I was most proud of in the article, because they just tell it like it is. One was regarding the Obama administration doing everything they could to prevent us from meeting these Northern Alliance leaders again. They were trying to get any country to prevent us from meeting with these people. We couldn't meet them in Afghanistan. One of them was assassinated back in September, and so obviously he wasn't at this meeting.
That would be Burhanuddin Rabbani.
That's exactly. Boy,
that?
You say that so well,
Thank
Michael.
You. My wife's from India. It's not too far away.
Wow.
Kind of similar consonants pattern.
Well, and that.
Now, was this a trip y'all brought Sheila Jackson Lee on?
No.
She did, because she's kind of a foreign policy expert.
Today we have two Vietnams, side by side, North and South, exchanging and working. We may not agree with all that North Vietnam is doing, but they are living in peace. I would look for a better human rights record for North Vietnam, but they're living side by side. When
she gave that speech on her magnus opus on North and South Vietnam in 2011, I realized she was something of an expert in foreign policy. Would you concur?
I'm sorry, I'm still scratching my bald head, but yeah. Well, and in fact, Vietnam is a good thing to bring up because. The lesson from Vietnam should have been that we don't ever commit our troops unless we're going to give them the go-ahead to win. And some people say, well, Vietnam wasn't winnable. Well, you talk to Sam Johnson, who was in Hanoi Hilton for 7 years, and, after talks broke down, Nixon bombed North Vietnam, finally carpet-bombed Hanoi for 2 weeks, and that's when they came rushing back and reached an agreement. Actually, we capitulated more in the agreement, but Sam said when they were let go out of the Hanoi Hilton, the main officer in the camp was laughing and said, you idiots, you stupid Americans, if you'd bombed us one more week, we would have had to surrender unconditionally. Well, we're doing it again. We're about to do what we did in Vietnam, which cost 2 million people or so their lives, anybody that had anything to do with helping us. And that's what the Northern Alliance was concerned about. We fought with you, for you. Most people aren't aware that they remember generally that we won in Afghanistan, they thought. Well, we did. And, Michael, but we had less than 1,500 troops in country in Afghanistan. They were embedded with the Northern Alliance, these tribal groups, and General Dustin was the lead guy. And anyway, these guys fought on horseback, and I didn't know till last week they use wooden saddles. They'd offered to let me come ride with them, and I was all for that until I heard the wooden saddle part. But anyway, we used our technology, air support, and we had the Taliban defeated. They were on the run. And then we added 100,000 troops. We tied their hands with their rules of engagement and whatnot. And now Afghanistan has a constitution that will be Sharia law-based, and it creates a centralized presidency, basically dictator. President Karzai's there, but the president has the power to appoint all of the regional governors, all the mayors, all the police chiefs. And one of the things the Northern Alliance guys ask, and they make up about 65% of the country, is let us elect our regional governors. Let us elect our mayors. We'll pick our own police chiefs because we've set up a completely corrupt system. Well, of course it's going to be corrupt when you set it up like that. And so two asks they have. Look, let us elect our regional governors and our mayors. We'll get our own police chiefs. And then give us the weapons back in the Northern Alliance that we had when we defeated the Taliban the first time.